All right. So we're here. Guys, when I heard this news the other day, I was hurt. I was touched. You know, a young police officer lost his life. He was called to a traffic stop, and an altercation ensued, and he was relieved of his firearm, and it was used to take his life. And it's sad. He's kind of a part of a legacy family as well. I believe his father was also a Miami-Dade police officer. So he wanted to make his father proud, make his family proud. And to think that just by going to a traffic stop, that would have been his last traffic stop. And so when I was being told by my friend, shouts out to Nikki, I was bothered by it. And I had a resolve, and I have an understanding, because my biological father was a police officer. My mother was a police officer. At one point, I wanted to become a police officer. My best friend was a police officer. He was a Miami-Dade police officer for like 10 years. And then he left. He moved away to a different city, Port St. Lucie. And then he became a police officer there. And he was a police officer there for a while until he retired from that department. And I have to say that it hit home for me, because all the time when he would go out on the beat, I would always worry if he's okay. Sometime I'll call and check on him to make sure he's okay. Because it's very rare that you meet people along the way and you become close to that person, and you have things in common. You have disagreements, and that disagreements, whether there is some heated moments, but it always works itself out. No animosities is held, and you move on, and that becomes a water under the bridge, and you know, okay, that's a trigger right there, and how are we going to resolve or work around that issue the next time it arises? And so over the years, we became best of friends, and I always worried about him. And this guy is a young officer that lost his life because he went to a call for a traffic stop. So without further ado, I will get into the video and let the special report, this is a special report that they held. This happened a few days ago, and I couldn't bring myself around to talking about it because it was too close to home. And so I put it off until I was able to calm my emotions down, or my thoughts toward the family and the police department, they're feeling, and how I would have responded. So here is it. Here's an update that I'm going to bring to you. All right, so let me get to it.
Good afternoon to you. We are breaking into our regular scheduled programming for some breaking news. The Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office set to update us on the slain deputy killed in the line of duty yesterday. We want to show you a live look right now at the press conference being hosted by MDSO as they are set to get underway. We just received that 2-minute warning from our reporter Brett Neese, who is there right now. You can see that background of MDSO. On Saturday, just to recap you, if you weren't with us yesterday evening, detectives are investigating the murder of Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office Deputy Devin Jaramillo. It happened Friday in the Kendall District. Miami-Dade Sheriff Rosie Cordero-Stutz announcing Jaramillo, at 27 years old, was brutally attacked after responding to a traffic crash in the 1200 block of Southwest 128th Street. We want to send things out to our Walter Murphy, who is out there following this live. Walter, can you describe to us what the mood is like outside of the medical examiner's office as we await this press conference?
Well, Michaela, we've been out here all morning, like you know, and we have not seen anything until about 30 minutes ago. I'm going to take a step out of the way so you can see down, all the way down. There are dozens of officers here now, presumably to take their fallen brother to their final resting place. Again, we have seen them. They are in their full uniforms as well. I don't know if there are any that you can see at the moment that my photographer Zeke could possibly zoom into. About 10 minutes ago, we did see a group of them. It looked like they went inside. Again, we're unsure exactly what they are doing here, but they have come here. They are dressed in their full uniforms, the full regalia. I saw some dress blues, and again, they all have their lights on. We have seen about a dozen, again, dozens of cop cars, but we did see about a dozen go inside a moment ago. Again, we'll stay out here and try to figure out exactly what they're doing, and we will bring you any updates as they become available to us. But for now, I'm going to toss it back to you in the studio, Michaela.
There has been heartbreak for that hero, Devin Jaramillo, 27 years old. If we could bring up that live picture of where Walter is, of the overwhelming show of support outside of the medical examiner's office, showing all of those patrol vehicles out there. This is eerily similar to the scene that we saw. You know, Glenna Milberg talked about this yesterday.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
We want to take you straight to this presser. The sheriff getting ready to speak here in just moments. Let's listen in.
Is it afternoon?
Yes, totally.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. It's important to me that today we clarify some rumors that have been spreading regarding how the incident occurred yesterday. It was not an ambush. Our deputy was not ambushed. I'm also here to give you a better, clearer picture as to what actually occurred. Our deputy Jaramillo was dispatched to a traffic crash, a minor traffic crash. He responded as any deputy in this county would, and he handled himself in a professional and tactically sound manner. During his preliminary investigation of the crash, he encountered the subject who was part of the traffic crash case, and there was a verbal dispute that ensued. During that verbal dispute escalated to a physical altercation. He fought with our deputy. And during that fight, he disarmed our deputy of his own service weapon and used it to shoot him multiple times. The subject, after shooting our deputy, entered his own vehicle and took his own life. Our deputy, good citizens who did see what happened, called 911. He was not able to. And deputies responded and provided first aid. He was transported to the hospital where all life-saving measures were taken. And I'm grateful and thankful to the hospital staff who tried their best to save him, but they were unable to. I want to tell you that behind this uniform, we're human beings. And I want to share a little bit with you about Devin Jaramillo. He was a son and he was a brother, but he's also a homegrown hero. He was born in Baptist Hospital, graduated from Killian High School, and graduated magna cum laude from University of Central Florida. He was an athlete, a football player, and he was smart, strong, handsome, and young. And he could have done anything with his professional career, but he chose public service, and he chose to do it in this community, to serve us. And he gave the ultimate price in his service. As I said yesterday, this will never be okay. And I ask our community to continue to hold us in your prayers because we need them. Thank you. I'll do it in Spanish. Buenas tardes y gracias por venir hoy.
As the sheriff continues this press conference in Spanish, we just want to reiterate what she just shared with our reporters. We do plan to go back to the sheriff as soon as she begins taking questions. But the sheriff clarifying rumors saying Deputy Jaramillo was not ambushed, contrary to the language used Friday. The sheriff saying the suspect was part of the crash investigation, saying that during the fight between Sheriff Jaramillo and the suspect, that suspect took the deputy's gun and shot the fallen deputy with it. The sheriff saying that the suspect got back into his own car and took his own life, and it was the Good Samaritans nearby who called 911. This 27-year-old deputy, fallen deputy, a athlete, a football player, a son, and the sheriff making that statement that she repeated yesterday. This is not okay. Hearts are heavy this afternoon in the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office as many are thinking about their fallen brother in blue. We've seen that outpouring support. Our own Glenna Milberg speaking about Deputy Jaramillo yesterday and sharing that when stuff like this happens, it is not taken lightly in the department. And we saw that yesterday throughout Kendall as roads were shut down, interstates were shut down, as we saw that escort of his body to the medical examiner's office. And this is a statement that you're looking at right now from Governor Ron DeSantis, taking to X just a couple of minutes ago to express his condolences, saying, First Lady Casey DeSantis and I are heartbroken over the tragic killing of Deputy Jaramillo in Miami-Dade County. Please know that those responsible for his murder will be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. May his family, friends, and fellow deputies find peace during this very difficult time. And we told you this yesterday, but these deputies who showed that support still have to show up to work even hours after this horrible tragedy. These were those scenes yesterday, those arches of honor set up as they carried his body from that scene of that crime all the way to the medical examiner's office where he was met by Miami-Dade Mayor. We've got those questions and answers happening right now with the sheriff.
The connection between Deputy Jaramillo and this subject, did they know each other?
So, and that is part of the reason why I'm here, is that there's these rumors that there was some either retribution or connection. Absolutely not. This call was a random assigned call, a very minor police response call, a traffic accident with minor damage. So it could have been anyone. There's no reason, and we have no intelligence that there was any connection.
And we hear of a second subject that's in custody as well. Can you talk about that connection, who that person is?
I don't have the details on the second individual because remember, this is still very much an investigation. And I'm also grateful for that question because I'm going to explain that it is so important for us that this be done exactly as it needs to be done. We need to hold everybody accountable that needs to be held accountable.
So was that person a bystander or passenger in that car? Any information on that second?
The second subject was involved in the entire scene. He was involved. It wasn't just a random person. He was involved. That much we know at this time.
Part of the accident.
Yes, part of the accident.
Do we know whether the person who shot was a career criminal, or do we know anything about that?
We don't have any information as of yet. We're going to try to be releasing that information as soon as we can, sooner than later.
That second subject, he was charged or not charged? I'm sorry. I don't know if
At this time, I do not believe there are any charges as of this time.
Have there been any search warrants sought or executed?
At this time, I don't have any more further information I can share on the investigation.
Sheriff, can you talk about, you called this a minor traffic accident. Deputy Jaramillo arrives by himself. Is that standard procedure in a traffic call? Can you talk about what those standard procedures look like for this particular type of call?
So a minor crash is something that would normally be handled by one individual, not even just a deputy. We even have public service aides that respond to these type of calls. So I think it's important because people need to understand that for us, there's evil lurking over our shoulder wherever we are and whatever we're doing.
Were any other firearms recovered at the scene, or was it strictly?
That's all part of the current investigation, so nothing I can share.
Any questions in Spanish?
I just
One
have-
last question?
Yeah, just one. Do we know when Deputy Jaramillo will be moved from the medical examiner to the funeral home, and then what that process will look like over the next few days?
So we are currently, as we speak right now, working on the details for the transport.
Okay.
Our goal is that it will be sometime today, and as we get more locked-in timeframes, we'll make sure to share that appropriately.
Thank you.
Want to tell us at all just what he was like during his time with the sheriff's office? You know, we heard from Coral Gables Police, that's where he started. in
Yeah.
jurisdiction.
So Devin was an amazing officer, hardworking. He's what we call a legacy kid because his father was on the job for so many years. He was strong. He was a helper. He was a supporter. Nothing but the best of words were ever used when it came to describing who he was, his peers. I will tell you that his immediate peers at the Kendall station they're destroyed. They're destroyed. He was what every parent would want their kid to grow into.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Sheriff.
You are listening to the Miami-Dade Sheriff right now in a press conference updating us on the investigation into the slain Deputy Devin Jaramillo. The sheriff answering several questions from reporters. That first one was, did Jaramillo and that suspect know each other? The sheriff's saying absolutely not. There was no intelligence that there is any connection between the two. There is now a second suspect in custody, though. But the sheriff saying there are no details there, but so far the second subject was involved. The sheriff reiterating everyone will be held accountable, saying it was a minor traffic accident that turned deadly, in a powerful statement from the sheriff saying there is evil lurking over the shoulder of deputies no matter what the call is.
All the time.
A minor traffic accident turning deadly. Be sure to follow Local 10 News throughout the
Guys, listen, it is always a very tense scene when a police officer goes on site to attend to a traffic stop. You never know what could happen. You never know what could happen. It is very tense. It is very scary. Right? And just to understand, when you go on site and see what you have to see during a traffic stop, it makes you really wonder, could this be my last day? Am I going to be able to go home and see my family? Because you really don't know. It's just always a scary situation. You just have to think about when you set out to become a police officer. It could be a police officer. It could be in the military, a soldier. It could be a pilot, Air Force. It could be a Marine. It could be special forces. Your life is always in the balance. And for a young man, just 27, and wanting to make his parents proud and have a good career in the police department, had to lose his life because somebody was having a bad day. To think how this person's mental stability was, right? Mental issue is a big problem. So an argument ensued. He wrestled with the police officer, took his firearm, and released it on him multiple times, then go into his car and then took his life. What you have to think, what was his mental capacity like? What was he going through? They're going to have an investigation and maybe they'll release more information. But you really have to wonder, mental health is a serious issue. And for years, it was never really spoken about. Never really spoken about, especially for men. Women would always have a release. They have a support system. They will talk to their friends, their girlfriends. They have a way of venting. So that had been their support over the years. But for men, we didn't have necessarily had that support, right? We had to, as they say, bite the bullet, right? And he lost his life while doing his job. You know, just a sad situation. Very sad situation. Wow. 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 It almost makes me want to cry. I feel it. I really, really feel it. I feel it. Even as a regular person, a regular citizen, a regular individual, right? As it said, a civilian. Even as a civilian, when you go out there, you never know what could happen to you. Somebody might have a bad day and you say the wrong thing. And you don't even have to necessarily say it to that person, but they interpret it as you're saying it to them and they come and attack you. Like something that happened to me earlier on this year, where I was walking to the store. I looked back because I heard a guy yelling. So I looked back and realized he was yelling at a little girl. And I just looked at him like, really? And his aggression turns towards me where he wanted to fight me. Now I know how to defend myself, but it would have been a fight that I did not intend to I didn't go looking for. I was just minding my business, heard a commotion, and I looked. So even with looking, things could really happen. Wow. Well, guys, I am going to wrap it up here because going further with this might make me say things that I may not necessarily want to say. And I'm not happy with the situation. I'm not happy with the situation. So, thank you for watching. And like I always say, question everything, because if you don't, you may fall for anything. One love and respect. Ah.